Hotep fam and Hetu Poo. Welcome back to another episode of the Alkemystic Mind with Minister Hotep. I am Mr. Hotep, a.k.a. Reverend Stanley Yorker, coming to you live and direct from the Caribbeanlifetv and radio studios. And my guest, I have a very special guest with me today, is a brother by the name of Brother Zayin-Zari Bey. Brother Bey is one of the coolest dudes I know, but he's one of the realest brothers I know as well. If you ever need anything, he's always there. He's there to assist. We met by going through something, to something that was all about self-development. It was called the Global Information Network. And from that initial meeting together, that was Kevin Trudeau's network, we've been connected ever since, and a lot of things have been going on, and we found out that we're both true students along this way, seeking how to gain greater, agency over ourselves as we seek that self-mastery. So I'd like to introduce my guest for today, Brother Zayin-Zari Bey.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for that great introduction.
Hey, it's all true. I can keep going on about it for days.
Thank you for having me here, man. It's an honor. It's an honor to be here with you today.
Indeed. Our topic today, we got a lot to chop up. You may have guessed, well, some folks may not know, but just by his name, you can tell what he's associated with, and that is Moorish science. You may remember Mos Def, the rapper, and then he went and changed his name to Yasin Bey. That is one of the signs that this brother was going through a transformation. And that's what we want to talk about always on this podcast, and that is the transformative power that we have, the metaphysics, the dynamics, and that is what the alchemistic is about, that alchemy with that mysticism of how we transform from the ordinary to the extraordinary, the mundane to the exceptional. So I wanted to have a conversation today with Brother Bey about the Moorish nation, because so many folks know of Moors, but they don't know really in depth about what exactly is a Moor. And what is a Moor, Brother Bey? Or if you want to give a little bit of a conversation, open an introduction to yourself, where you're from and everything, go ahead and do that.
Sure. My name is Zayin-Zari Bey. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I reside in Lithonia, Georgia at the moment, and I'm a gymnastics coach in the daytime. You know, I'm a bridge to confidence and joy and just unconditional love for the next generation. And, you know, I also am a blockchain developer. You know, we've created the first cryptocurrency to uplift the indigenous peoples all around the world. And yeah, I'm, like you said, I'm forever seeking knowledge and wisdom, you know, to definitely give back to the next generation. That's
what's up. How do you identify yourself? I don't want to mislabel or miscategorize you when I say that you are a Moor. Sometimes people ask, am I a Christian? I say, yeah, Hindu and Muslim and whatever else too. But how do you identify?
So I absolutely identify as the Moor. But first and foremost, I identify as a man. You know, I'm a man who has been created by the Creator, you know, and as a Moor, I identify, you know, for nationality purposes, you know, to tie me to this playing field, you know. So Moor, you know, is definitely my identity through nationality.
So not as religion?
No, not through religion, no.
Now, what's the distinction, historically, what is a Moor? How does it connect you in terms of a nationality?
So a Moor, there's many different definitions of a Moor.
There's more than one Moor, right?
Definitely, if you go through our culture and our people, you'll get many different definitions. But the one that I relate to the most is I am that I am, you know, and we're connected to the land through Moor. We're connected to cosmology through Moor. We're connected through the seas and navigation through the word Moor. So like we moored through the womb of our mother, you know, we moor the land, we steward the land. Like that's who we are. We're inheritors of the earth, you know, by birthright. That's what a Moor is.
Now, what nation, well, Moor is the nation, but geographically, where is the nation located?
Geographically is earth. So when the world was all one, that we called it Pangea, and we had Melanesia, that was us. We were Asia Major. They only teach us Asia Minor in school, but, they misrepresent us, and they teach us that we're African Americans and things that are classified in the Federal Census Bureau. But in all actuality, we were something way before that even existed, and before the Federal Census Bureau existed, the thing we called ourselves prior to colonialization was more. So, we called ourselves, I'm sure, many things throughout history, but the last thing we collectively, came together and called ourselves was more.
Now, some people, I guess, try to locate it near, I understand Pangea, some people, if you don't know, that was when all of the continents were actually connected, one large landmass. And if you look at any globe, you can see it looks like a puzzle piece, how all the pieces would fit together, but the tectonic plates started spreading, and that's why we got the separation. At one point, all land masses were together and everything was together. But now, over time, it's all separated. Some look at the west coast of Africa, Mauritania, and say that is the more that is we're referring to a Morocco.
Morocco. So we can talk about the Morocco and Spain and things over there, but if you look at the ancient maps, Morocco was really here in what we call United States of America first. Jerusalem was really here. The Nile River, which we miscalled the Mississippi River, was over here. So the maps have been flipped. So when I say our geographic location is the earth, we are the original people. So we've been navigating this earth since the beginning of time, so that's where my understanding comes from.
Okay. Now, as you say, there's a separation in terms of the two types, because we know that the Europeans, they collectively called anybody that was melanated a Moor. And those are the ones who came into Spain and Portugal across the Strait of Gibraltar and brought wisdom, knowledge, and civilization to that society, architecture, the sciences, and so forth. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Robin Hood.
Yes.
Kevin Costner one. With
absolutely.
Morgan Freeman, right. The Moor that was beside him was the one who knew how to make the telescope and all those other things, the looking glass and everything else. So Hollywood will give you some insights if you pay attention. Jesus say, those who have ears to hear, let them hear, eyes to see, let them see. So they tell you about it. So what specifically do Moors believe in terms of, with this word sovereignty? I know it's a huge conversation in the Moors nation, sovereignty. What exactly are you referring to when you talk about sovereignty and achieving that?
So a lot of Moors subscribe to the term Islam, and not in the term, or not in the sense that the way the Nation of Islam use it, but the sense of I, self, law, and master. So that means that I am the author of the law. Therefore I cannot be condemned by the law unless I'm condemned by my own word. So therefore there's always consequences in what we do, but that's not for an institution that has no relationship to our communities, to our people, no relationship to our day-to-day activities. It's not for them to determine how it is that we govern ourselves and our families, in our homes, in our communities. So sovereignty is just a choice, to actually, self-govern, and to be not in combative of any other nation, organization, or foundation, but to also just be in our private capacity, left alone. And if we infringe on anyone else's rights, then we feel like then there should definitely be a penalty for that. But we are not in the hands of any foreign institutions. That's what we mean by sovereignty. We create our own path. We create our own way. And we govern ourselves through integrity and through love.
Now, does the federal government always respect that sovereignty? Because I know there's always contentious court battles and so forth that go forward.
So we have the federal government and then we have the state government. The federal government absolutely recognizes our sovereignty. That's why we have the United Nations DRIP, the Declaration of Rights for Indigenous People, which absolutely, guarantees the rights of us to self-govern, to educate our children, and to run our households the way we see fit. But now you have state and local entities, which are a separate entity. They might work hand in hand together, but they're total different entities, total different monsters, and they work differently. So if you go to the feds as opposed to the state, you're probably gonna get a different remedy, or you're probably gonna get bound over to a proper court that could handle that type of jurisdiction of a case.
That's the key word, jurisdiction.
Yeah, I've been finding that throughout my own journey. Like, I've been getting bounced around from courthouse to courthouses saying, I don't have jurisdiction to see this type of case. I don't have jurisdiction. In the feds, I've never heard that at all, And the feds, we getting some traction going right now.
Okay.
So
that's awesome. That is awesome. So many things are defined by words. I know you and I have both gone through Landmark, and one of the distinctions
absolutely
that I like is that the world is empty and meaningless. Now, when you first hear that, it sounds sort of depressing or cynical, but when you understand that we give everything meaning, that actually opens up quite a bit of possibility.
Absolutely.
Now, but when we're dealing with words, semantics, and technical terms, lexicon, I know that the Moorish people, self included, we love dictionaries.
Yes.
But there are many types of dictionaries. There's legal dictionaries, medical dictionaries, Webster's, and so forth.
You name it.
Give me some conversation on why it's so important to have dictionaries and to ground ourselves in the meaning of words.
Well, let me just first say this. A lot of the dictionaries we have nowadays, we can't find the true meaning of a word. So we have to really go back to like pre-1913 to really find, the brackets in the dictionaries that help us find the root words, which teaches us the etymology and the roots, because our words have been transliterated from all different types of languages, and it's been constructed into an equivocal language. And that's why it's so imperative to know, etymology, and you need to learn where these words come from, because if you don't, it's almost like you're casting a spell on yourself and don't even know it.
Well, indeed, that's what they call it, spelling. When you
absolutely.
When you go into court, you're speaking the same language, or you're saying the same words, but you're speaking a different language.
Absolutely.
A lot of brothers have experienced this, especially any who've had any child support issues and so forth. What we actually learn is that your child is not even your child. They say it's a ward of the state.
Absolutely.
And that's why they get to dictate where or how or who gets to take care of that.
Custody. Right. Custody. That sounds like a jail term to me.
Indeed, you're in custody.
Right, you're in custody. Yeah. So it's really strange, the terms that they use in these systems.
Have you yourself had to go through any of that? I know I went through child support and everything. Just about every male that at some point has faced some similar situation.
Absolutely. I've gone through it all. I think I've been through almost everything you possibly could go through in this system, and child support has been one of them. And, it's so interesting how they allow it to happen when the mother was actually living in the house with me. It's like, wow, I found out, that I was on child support while my daughter's mother and I actually lived under the same roof.
Wow.
And I was taking care of my daughter.
I didn't know that was possible.
I had no clue that was possible either, but I found out. Yeah, I found out the hard way.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I've had some run-ins with child support and things of that nature, but, I also have the greatest news that I could ever have. My child's been alienated for the past 2 years. And
awesome.
My daughter's mother's just been served. I feel like B2K right now. I just want to dance like you got served, because I know now it's going to be like 40 days until there has to be a response, and you can't hide my baby no more without consequence.
Congratulations, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
How old is your daughter?
My daughter's 9 years old, brother. Means everything to me.
I understand. You used the term before, and I want to go back to it. I want you to treat me like a 6-year-old. When you say indigenous people, what do you mean?
Indigenous, original. You know, we come from the earth. We were not created, you know, in a laboratory. You know, we were created from nature. We were created from the original womb, you know, and we're so intrinsically connected with the cosmos. You know, we can read the stars. We can talk to the trees. We could make it rain. You know, we can do these things with nature because we are nature. That's what indigenous means. Indigenous is nothing political. You know, it's not about color or anything. It's a consciousness. You know, indigenous means you remember who you are. You remember where you come from, you know, and that's no corporate construct that could give you that. You know, it's only the creator, you know.
Awesome. So the Aboriginals, that's also another term.
Mm-hmm.
The Aboriginal folks like in New Zealand, Australia, and so forth, are those considered part of the indigenous, the Native Americans, the so-called Native Americans here, are those considered part of the indigenous, or it refers specifically to African diaspora?
I know from conversations that I've had with some Maori people, some of them consider themselves brothers. Some of them consider themselves their own, you know, but we all know one mother gave the whole world suck, you know, so it's nothing to even argue or debate. You know, at this point, it's just really allowing people to just be who they are. You know, if these people feel like they separate from us, then they have every right to feel that way. But my understanding is that we are all, you know, the same people. We all come from the same people. You know, we have different genetics. You know, we've been modified throughout, you know, time, but one mother gave the world suck, you know.
I think science actually documents that, and even those who, you know, don't even consider themselves conscious recognize that we all came, that Homo sapiens sapiens came from that one.
Absolutely.
And so everybody in some way is all African, if you want to put it, if you want to get down to it. I even heard Neil deGrasse Tyson just talk about this just the other day on Club Shay Shay. He was in a conversation. He said that somebody will say, I'm Italian. And you say, well, where's your father from? Brooklyn? Where's your grandfather from? You know,
right.
Well, then your great grandfather, they were from Italy. But if you kept that thing going back far enough, eventually you're gonna get to Africa at some point.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But we always conveniently stop with where we want to stop.
Right.
So I know you also relate and connect very strongly with the traditions of what we consider Native Americans here, the indigenous folks here, seeing that there's no separation between, because from the descriptions that the early, I guess, settlers or conquerors came over, they actually describe bronze-colored people.
Right. So if we go back to the dictionary, Webster's dictionary, I can't remember what year, but pre-1913, if you looked in the Webster's dictionary, if you looked under the term American, you would see the copper-skinned natives that was here before Christopher Columbus. You know, so that was very, very distinct. You know, you can't go to any other country and be born there and just be, if you go to China, you're not Chinese because you're born in China, but why every time someone comes over here to America, where we're indigenous to, no matter what race of people you are, you're American or you're a U.S. citizen. You know, it's like they really got us in a trick bag. You know, we're the only nation that's like that, you know, where you could come over and flood the nation of people that are not the true people of that nation, you know.
Well, some who are here now are upset about immigrants coming in now, and they're saying we will not be replaced, even though those were the ones who replaced so many of the ones who were here before, the indigenous. So
right.
It's interesting to see this whole thing as it sort of plays out.
Absolutely. I feel like it's just family war, you know, like it's been from the beginning in the story of Jacob. You know, like these are our brothers. If you look at the treaties of Hidalgo, you know, you'll see that most of California is Mexico. You know, so these people have a right to this land just like we do.
Texas,
you know, they are
New
indigenous.
Mexico,
you know,
Arizona.
they are indigenous. You know, we call them moros y mexicanos. You know, like that's our brothers on the other side. And, you know, it's really tragic how we have foreign people just having all these indigenous people coming against each other, fighting over their own land and calling it their own. You know, like that's really the thing that I feel like we really need to remember, you know, like where we are demographically, geographically, and spiritually. You know, spiritually, that's really where the awakening takes place. You know, that's when we could really steward the land as our own, because we see it as heaven, you know, on earth, and not just, some place that we was drug around in ships and being in low credit and in less, you know, distressed situations than most other people. You know, we would see the world differently.
Absolutely.
You know? Absolutely, brother.
When you know that you were here, Ivan Van Sertima, they came before Columbus. We see all the things, the artifacts, everything that points to that.
Absolutely.
So that's a convenient place to begin. I guess a diminished history is saying it started with slavery. Right. That we were imported over here and everything. The religion was introduced to us and everything. But all those things we actually created.
Exactly. We gave life to everything. You know, we taught people how to bathe themselves. We brought people out of dark ages. You know, it's like we don't need to speak of the who. Like, we already know who the who is. It's not about, you know, being above anyone. You know, it's about just remembering who we are and restoring ourselves in our natural place in life. And that's as heirs of the earth. You know, nothing less. You know, nothing less than that, brother, is what I'm standing for my people.
Indeed. And how are you going about that? I know you have some very specific things in place and process that you're working towards to facilitate that restoration.
Absolutely. Thank you for allowing me to share. So, more essential community. You know, that's pretty much the pillar of my work.
More essential community.
More essential community. That's MOOR, you know, and it's pretty much, imagine families, you know, restored everywhere. Imagine, you know, a place where the next generation is secure for 7 generations down. Imagine a place where we govern ourselves through a matriarch government of peace, you know, power and prosperity, as opposed to war and violence and fighting over land that don't belong to us. But we restore land to the natural people who it belongs to, the governance to the natural people who it belongs to, and we'll have peace on earth. You know, it might be some people who will fight and bump up against it, you know, but this is our mission. This is our purpose. This is our time, you know, and we are here to fulfill prophecy. You know, that one world government is not the trick that we see on the media, but it's the rising of the consciousness of that body of Christ. You know, that is the second coming. It's not something out the sky. It's something from within. You know, so this is what we're ushering in, and I created the Mecca Dow through that. You know, that's the technological vehicle. That's the vehicle that's going to advance us and create an equal level playing field for indigenous people all around the world.
What's that vehicle again? Can you give
Mecca
it to
Dow. So it stands for More Essential Crypto Alliance, or More Essential Community Crypto Alliance, excuse me. And DAO is Decentralized Autonomous Organization. And it creates a governance through token. All right, so we create a government through consensus. That means no one's vote is higher than the other. Everyone has a say, and there's no one there's no hierarchy. There's no person that's at the top. We have a board of mothers or a council of mothers who will act as, you know, our governance, you know, and our final tier of governance, like our ancient, you know, foremothers and forefathers. This is how the Moorish government ran in history. We were matriarch. You know, there was never no patriarch. We played our position. We have to restore our women back to the capacity, you know, to where they are giving birth to kings and queens and emperors and empresses, you know, not, you know, this mentality that we live in where we have to go work to eat. No, we need to create to eat. We need to collaborate to eat. You know, like, it's not that hard to eat. You know how many seeds, you know, we could get a seed out of every fruit you eat. That's a food bank. That's a seed bank. Like, it's so simple to create food economy. It's so easy to create learning economy. Look what we're doing right now. This is Mecca DAO, like people who are hungry to teach, people who are hungry to learn. We created an ecosystem where you could get paid and earn while you learn, earn while you build. You know, the facilitator, the person who's learning, there's not a second that you spend on this platform that you are not earning, you know, and this is what it's about. How
do you access the platform?
So it's Mecca DAO, MECCADAO.io. MeccaDAO.io. You can reach me at More Essential Community on pretty much all platforms. Facebook's, Instagram, you know. But yeah, that's the link right there.
At what stage is it right now?
Right now it's definitely a grassroots stage. We building a lot. The More Essential Learning Economy is built as of now. So right now you can go on there, submit a proclamation, create a record. You can join the community. You can definitely get an access with me through email, and you know, we can just build. You know, we could grow and we could do things that are unimaginable. You know.
All right. You've always been someone who's been striving, as I introduced you, to learn more, to do more, to experience more. You actually introduced me to an organization called Ndugu that meets on Tuesday nights, where this cross-section of brothers from the boardroom to, the jail cell, who've been through all those experiences. Man. But they come together and those barriers are broken down. Now, I'm going to have some Ndugu leadership on. Jamel come in and actually Absolutely. Go a little deeper.
Yes.
But just wanted to have you just give it a little cursory intro to and give the brothers some love.
Man, I would love to talk about Ndugu. Shout out to Ndugu, my brotherhood, man. So Ndugu is Swahili for brotherhood, and it's simply just that. It's a safe space for indigenous men to come have vulnerable conversations, share resources, and, just get the weight off of life, out into the world and feel seen, feel supported, be heard. And it's really, a two-form thing, because on the first and second Tuesdays, we have something called Chop It Up, which is all men, and it's very, very, very intense. It's just a few questions that are geared around emotional intelligence and that are pretty much something that is heart-wrenching in our community, and we deal with it. We all answer the questions as emotionally intelligent as we possibly can, and then we have Ndugu Speaks, which the women could come out and spectate, and it's more curated like a speaking engagement, kind of like a Toastmasters, but for indigenous brothers. We get to work on our public speaking. We get to get critiqued by our brothers. We get to have impromptu questions asked, and, just sharpen our tools, sharpen our minds, and really just be better leaders out in society. And like I said, it's a safe space, and it's no titles and no egos, but you'll definitely be surprised who's in the room, my brother.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've been amazed at the opportunities I've had to get out there. So it's definitely something that's worth supporting. And again, I have a whole show that's dedicated to it coming up, and then we can get more into it. But Tuesday nights at the Loudermilk Center.
Loudermilk Conference Center, yes.
Which is
on 40 Cortlandt Street in Midtown. Yes, every Tuesday around 6:30 we get started.
Yeah, y'all going downtown. Y'all right by Auburn and Edgewood, right off of there, right?
Right, and every fifth Tuesday they do a resource day. So women, men could come together, share what they need, share what they could give. And they call it the well. Ndugu, they call it the well because you could pour a little in, you could take a little out, but no matter what, if you look down, you're going to see your reflection, So that's really the premise of that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, I know there's another thing that you're involved with. And again, what's great about Ndugu, I can go back because all these things seem to tie together because so much of the Ndugu leadership actually went through landmark education.
Absolutely.
So we want to tell folks a little bit about Landmark.
So it's funny how they married each other. So, we just figured we're all sharing and we're all speaking. And some of us believe it or not, really don't know how to speak in public. And Landmark, does more than teach you how to speak in public. Landmark, honestly, like, got so many blind spots out of my way that I didn't even know were there. So before Landmark, right, I was a hermit. Like, mind you, my purpose in life is to be the bridge of peace, power, and prosperity through unconditional love. Now, before Landmark, I was a straight hermit, shell-shocked, terrified by the fears and traumas that I grew up with, that I've gone through with past relationships, and I shut myself off from the world. People I love the most, I kept them at hand's length, like, no time for small talk. If I need you, I'll call you. If you need me, I'm here for you. Like, that's how I thought.
Transactional.
That's just transactional. Yeah, that's it. I don't have no time to get my feelings involved in nothing. Landmark, oh my goodness, it gave me access to so much, just presence of who I've been being in the world and how I've been showing up in the world and why life occurred for me in the world like it was occurring, because, I was just so inauthentic with myself. The leader said, this was probably the biggest thing I got out of that. This was a mic drop. He said, who in here has a problem with integrity? I mean, not a problem with integrity, has a problem with procrastination. Everybody in the room raised their hand, including myself. He said, I'm going to be real nasty with you guys right now. He said, there's no such thing as procrastination, just a lack of integrity with your word. And when he said that, life opened up, and I started seeing things, and it's like, damn, like he said, your tongue in your mouth is going in different directions from the tongue in your shoes. And when he said it, I just think like, dang, all these things that I say I want to build, I'm not building because I'm scared, and during Landmark, I created so many, I finished so many unfinished communications. Like, I pretty much cleaned my closet throughout that whole Landmark Forum experience. I'm sitting here recreating my relationship with my mother, recreating my relationship with all my ex-girls in my past. Like, I really got to the point where I was free to love. I had the capacity to want to look for love and companionship again.
Created the space for it.
Created the space. Now I'm collaborating with some of the most beautiful people on a day-to-day basis. I'm here with you, in this. And before Landmark, I'd have never did this. I'd have been waiting for that perfect time. Like, I wouldn't have thought I was ready, but Landmark has helped me see I've been ready. It's just practice. You're not going to be perfect from the start. Just keep going,
Interestingly, they say the number one fear of most people is public speaking. It's
right.
So many things. We boil it down to fear, and one way or another, it's the thing that holds us back. That false evidence appearing real.
Right.
It's not real. Love is the only real thing. But we go into that false evidence appearing real, and we call it different things.
Right.
It's embarrassment, shame, worry, anxiety, but all those things boil down to that one thing that doesn't exist anyway.
Right.
So it's an interesting place to be. Another thing that you're connected with, that you actually connected me to also, is an organization. It's an MLM, multi-level marketing organization called Viago. What is Viago?
Viago is a wealth community, and we are the largest global travel and lifestyle community in the world. So we've been around for almost 2 years now. We're we're a privately traded public corporate, or it's a public corporation, but it's on the stock is on the OTC market. So we have a lot of things that we offer to our community as far as health benefits that cover you outside of the country in over 35 different countries. We also have one of the most brilliant owners who I can say like truly inspire me, and I could say like is a reflection of myself. This is a man who is Jewish and South African. He serves his community. Right? He brought me into his house and served us in a Shabbat dinner. Like that to me speaks volume. I've never had any organization, any people that I've worked for bring me to their house. And this man had about 50 of us in his house would not let us do anything but be served by his family.
Wow.
And, you know, that created so much camaraderie, and it created so much vision for what I can do, you know, because I want to be that type of leader, you know, the type of leader that trusts people enough to bring you into my household. Like, I got people that I work with and see on a day-to-day basis that I wouldn't even bring to my household, you know. So it really gave me that concept of knowing, like, I would never hire someone that I wouldn't work for myself, you know. So just that humility, it just instilled something in me, and it gave me a such deeper connection to this community, because I was totally against network marketing. You know, when I went, I was thinking we was about to talk sovereignty. I was in my garbs and everything, but, you know, when I seen the presentation, I was like, okay, now I could travel around the world at wholesale prices. I'll never have to spend.
Explain a little bit about it, because honestly, I've on the strength of Zayin, I've joined up, but I haven't really had an opportunity to take advantage of it. So I don't even know all the things, the benefits that are offered. So again, treat me like a 6-year-old and talk about exactly what it is.
So you could travel all around the world at wholesale rates. I'm talking about global Airbnbs. Like, you can go to Venice, Italy on the water, you know, for a couple $100 a night. You can go to Victoria Falls. You can go to resorts, cruises at wholesale rates. You'll never pay full price for anything. I'm talking about concert tickets, movie tickets, entertainment, shopping, day-to-day, groceries, car parts. I got the Microsoft Word suite for $35 for a lifetime. You know, that thing is like $100 a year. You know, I got it for $35 for a lifetime membership. So we got so much perks. We got so much relationships with all type of businesses all around the world. Like, we have a premier package plan called Go Getaways. Now, Go Getaway is all expenses, like curated trips. You could, one click of a button, go anywhere pretty much in the world you want with the top rated curated trips you could possibly imagine. Like, people out in Dubai, or Dubai, let me say Dubai. They say if we say Dubai out there, they're going to be looking at us funny. They out there petting tigers, riding around in dune buggies in the sand, having steak dinners on the beach, like all kind of just amazing stuff.
So I think I'll go other than the Middle East right now.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So they get this straightened out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a wonderful thing. And again, I've only scratched the surface of it, but how do people find out more information about Viago and maybe get involved?
Well, it's invite only. You know, they have to definitely come through you or me, you know.
I'll tell you what, I'll put a link in the comments once we
could definitely set that up, and let's go to the meeting, you know, in September, man. It's a big event. You know, I got you a ticket already, man. So
where's that meeting taking place?
Jacksonville. Florida, at home.
Going back to home,
man.
Folks.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that who the Jackson was in Jacksonville. And we were talking about indigenous people. It was actually named after Andrew Jackson.
Let's go.
The president that did the Trail of Tears, that drove all the indigenous folks out of Georgia, the Carolinas, and sent them over to Oklahoma. Until they found out there was oil over there. Then they wanted that land.
That's a fun fact for me for today.
So it's there's no disconnections. Everything, we look close enough, we find all the connections. And
Absolutely.
That's what that's part of that oneness that we're all a part of. There's no separation.
Right.
So when people start getting into these factions of us versus them, versus red,
right,
it's all ridiculous. Because we have this one planet that we're occupying.
Right. All that stuff started what, in the 40s and 50s?
Oh, it started before then, but
with Francois Bernays and all of them, you know, with the phenotypes and all of that stuff.
The father of public relations. At that time, they called it propaganda, though.
Right.
Bernays was the cousin of Sigmund Freud.
Yeah.
So my background is advertising, so I understand.
Yeah, you got it. Got it.
So I guess let's just go back to the Moors just for a second, because are you actually a part of the Moorish Science Nation or?
So I am a Temple Moor. I have declared my nationality through the Moore Science Temple of Greensboro, North Carolina, which is, from my understanding, the only true private, temple that we have, according to the Grand Sheikhs of the temple.
Really? Because it started in Chicago, correctly?
Yes.
Then the Detroit, all
Detroit,
the Newark.
We even got a so-called a temple down here, in Atlanta. And I was going there, just trying to get familiarized with the people, but it seemed like there was more gatekeeping than anything. I kept trying to just talk to the elders and talk to the people who could, make a difference. And the brothers was not trying to give me access to, the elders. And I'm just like, okay.
Because they're Pharisees and all.
Yeah, but I found an elder, who took me under his wing, and he introduced me to the Empress or the Sheikhess in North Carolina, and she got me right. And
North Carolina makes sense because that's the home of the Noble Drew Ali, Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Right.
So that was his birthplace.
Yeah. So if anybody need access to the temple and want to declare their nationality, I could definitely be a bridge for that as well, because you're not gonna find it online anywhere. It's definitely private, and you have to be there by word of mouth.
Okay. And when you say you declare your nationality, I know there's actually a ID card and everything that you get, the thumbprint and everything that's placed on there. Is that part of what you received as well?
So they give you a nationality card. It doesn't have your picture on it. It just has pretty much a little contractual agreement, and it has our autograph. And I definitely always put my thumbprint as a seal, just for proof of life, so there's never an argument as far as that. But yeah, it's really not too much that comes with it. It's really, they just give you the paperwork, they declare it through, I guess, the channels and the organizations that need to be notified, and then you left alone. It's really no follow-up, no follow-through, it's just walk your walk.
But what does it, in fact, grant you? I know that when Yassin Bey was over in Africa and trying to get back, he had some difficulties because of, I guess, the passport situation. Do you know anything about that or how that situation?
So I know a lot of different Moorish sects of people and groups of people, have their own ideologies and things of that nature that, they might not have given proper notice of. A lot of people just get out here and just do so. I'm not saying that's what Yassin Bey did, but I'm not sure what his situation was. But I know a lot of people just create documents and just walk out into the world, act like somebody's supposed to acknowledge it.
Declare their sovereignty.
Yeah, that's not how it works. It doesn't work by yourself. It has to be a body of people that you represent. It has to be a government. It has to be something that it comes back to. You can't just be out here sovereign by yourself. I mean, you can, but it comes with consequence. You have no protection. You have no protection. Part
of that nationality is actually having a flag as well.
Right.
Was that created recently? Or is that historic?
That's historic. We had nations who carried their flags, to pretty much symbolize what they represent. A flag was nothing more than just tribal, stakes in the ground to let you know whose territory this is.
Well, that's what the Bloods and the Crips call the
they flagging. But, they flagging against the wrong community. Mm-hmm. They should be flagging together against the people that's coming against them, creating this environment and condition that they in, because we didn't create it for ourselves. It's not osmosis why we in the hood and everybody else in Sandy Springs or, Beverly Hills, and this is systematically, designed this way. And we have to remember why, because they want our birthright. They live in our birthright. It's like
talk a little bit more about that. So
our birthright, we are inheritors of this earth, like by law, by decree, by blood, by consanguinity, like we are inheritors of the earth. So for us to be subject to anything, that's by choice. You know, so like when Kanye West says slavery was a choice, that's 100% true. You know, because we could have revolted at any time. You know, that we were never outnumbered. We were never, you know, just to the point where we was that down bad. No, we just been duped and we was turned against ourselves.
Now, you know, there are a number of slave revolts that actually did. There were a number of uprisings that did happen that got put down. That wasn't the only one, but that was
Right.
just the one that gained the most notoriety.
Right.
But at some point, I guess some of these enslaved were like, as you say, the choice is life or death. And many chose death because they dove off in the shark-infested waters. They took their own lives, but thank God that the few stayed around, else we may not have been here as well. So,
But during the time of enslavement, we was still walking around free. It was plenty of us walking around free.
That is true. There was actually some that had enslaved themselves.
Absolutely.
There were black folks that owned slaves. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, it's really shocking to see that a lot of people don't even know that we enslaved Europeans first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
that's where the term comes from.
Yeah, they
Slav.
were. Yeah, and you know, we are just reaping what we sow. You know, it's a universal karma. You know, and it's like time to now break that. You know, we don't have to resist. We don't have to fight it. We could just accept it where we are and grow from here. You know, all it is about building and transforming what we already have. You know, we already have responsibility for the earth. You know, it's not like we turn it into something new. We creating a new thing. No, we are just returning to who we are. You know, like, and that's all it is. And
remembering.
That's it.
The Horace brought it back together. Literally bringing it all, the pieces all back together.
That's it.
So you don't see like Elon trying to look for life or to go up to Mars to.
Nah, man, I'm staying right here on Earth, man. I'm staying right here on Earth.
All right, yeah. That's what a lot of folks, the super wealthy, they're trying to hedge their bets to get off the planet.
I get it.
So that they can keep destroying it.
I get it. I get it. You know, they say it would be harder to get the wealthy to give back what they stole, you know, than a camel to go through the eye of a needle. You know, so I expect this. You know, it's not going to be easy, but at the same time, it's not going to be too hard if we know where we're going.
Right.
Know?
I guess that's why even in the Hebrew tradition, back in the Old Testament, there was something called a jubilee. Every 7 years.
Right.
Where you forgive debts, you clear the books, erase all of that stuff, and basically do a reset.
Absolutely.
I think so many folks are seeing the need for a reset because it's ridiculous to have a trillionaire, but you have people who can't even afford basic education, health care, housing, and those things. So it's an interesting time that we're in.
Yes. MakerDAO is going to bring that reset in. You know, we're creating an ecosystem of sovereign cryptocurrencies. So we no longer have to work and leave our homes and our families, you know, to go slave for a piece of paper that have a slave master's face on it. You know, I feel like that's the most unempowering thing we do as a collective culture, you know, is spend our time,
something we won't get
our
back.
time for a piece of paper that embodies a face of somebody who deliberately enslaved you, like set up a system, upheld a system that brought demise to your family. You know, so we creating a whole new currency. We creating a whole new relationship with currency, with money, you know, that's going to empower our people, you know, and give us a sense of freedom and equal level playing field to where we don't have to worry about nothing. If we creating currency, we don't have to worry about going to collect somebody else's, you know, and we're going to be able to create them at the click of a button.
All right.
You know, so it's going to be easy.
So you see technology as a tool for liberation.
Absolutely.
As opposed to a lot of folks are scared of AI and what it could bring. How do you I guess think about AI and its possibilities, what it can or can't do, or is it something that intimidates you, or it's something that you have embraced?
Not at all. I use it as a tool. And a lot of people call it artificial intelligence. I call it ancestral intelligence, you know, because it has great memory. It has great learnability, you know, and you can pretty much train it and teach it, you know, to do whatever it is that you need it to do. It's not like it's going to just get up and start taking over the world. It has to have a human mind to do anything, you know. So all those people who are scared, I think it's just they are not thinking clear within their own lives, you know, and not thinking clear within their own day-to-day activities. Because if they seen it as they would see like Facebook, Instagram, and all these other tools that they use that are rooted in AI, you know, then they would see the tool itself, you know, as just a tool. You know, it's like it's really nothing scary about it at all.
I think it's really those who are in positions of power who see that great equalizer happening. Those are the ones who probably are the most intimidated by it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think for the most part, conscious folks have embraced it as the opportunity to be able to share a message of consciousness.
Save us so much time. You know, we could take our thoughts and our concepts and bring it to life, you know, and what would take me back in the day like 2-3 weeks to do as far as documents and stuff, it takes me 2-3 hours now, you know, with the help of AI. It's not like AI does everything, or, you know, you give it, you know, the life that it's supposed to give back to you.
See, that's what I like about you, that we connect on different levels, because that term you used, ancestral intelligence, I've used that before in the presentation. I would call it either authentic intelligence or ancestral.
Right.
So, yeah, because that's all we're doing. We're doing like what the Griots of old did, what the Vedas were, how they just tapped into the knowledge that was out there, pulled it forth, drew it forth, and were able to tap into it from the ethers.
Yes. It's no different. You know, our ancestors was doing it on a different level, but we still have the ability to do it, you know, with technology, and we could restore ourselves back to the way they did it as well. You know, but who knows what our ancestors had access to? We don't really know. All we could do is study humbly, you know, and keep seeking that path and keep creating what it is to create with what we have to create with, you know, and we're going to be fine.
We're going to be all right.
Yeah, we're going to be all right.
In fact, we already are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we still got a few more moments here. I want folks to know how they can get in contact with you. Again, I know you've given out those individual things, but how can they reach out to you, Brother Zayin, directly? Okay.
You can reach out to me by email. You can reach out to me at mekadao@gmail.io or at gmail.com. You can reach me by phone. Is that cool?
That's way cool.
All right. You can reach me by phone. My phone number is 404-990-8027. Once again, that's 404-990-8027. And I pretty much answer my phone at any time as long as it's not a blocked number. And I'm looking to build with collaborators. I'm looking for counsel of mothers who are just full of wisdom and knowledge and hunger to bring in, you know, the next generation with care. And, you know, I'm looking for anybody who just has something to offer the world, a gift to offer the world that will embody peace, power, and prosperity for the next generation.
See, that's another thing. I don't even know if you knew that I used to sign off on a lot of my emails with peace, prosperity, power.
I love that. I love that. See,
there was a period, and an exclamation point on the last.
I tell you all the time, brother, I'm a reflection of you, man. I mean it. You know, like I really see a lot in you, and I acknowledge you for your work that you're doing in the community, brother, because this is a great opportunity for a lot of people. I know it is for me, and I could just imagine how many lives you're going to change with this podcast, brother. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being available, and thank you for being vulnerable to share.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Appreciate you. Thank you for Caribbean Life Radio and TV. It goes out to the diaspora. Over 100 countries are reached by the radio. So something you said is going to touch someone on somewhere. It's going to resonate. They're going to feel it, and that transformation is going to begin. That's the power of being alchemistic, that you are transforming somebody from a mundane. They're beginning to think a new thought about their own possibilities, who it is that they are and what they can accomplish and what they can achieve. Join us here every Wednesday 4 o'clock, for our live stream of the Alkemystic Mind with Minister M. Hotep. I'll have these conversations with various guests who will bring us topics, information. Sometimes it's just sharing, but it's all about caring, that transformation that starts from within. Until next time, I'm Minister M. Hotep. You can catch me here, Caribbeanlifetv, but also you can check me out on my YouTube, Minister M. Hotep on YouTube. Peace, prosperity, power.